In Starfield, some stars on your map will glow a bit brighter. These will represent star systems you've already visited, while the non-glowing stars are places you haven't been yet. If you ever get a bounty in Starfield, you should clear it at one of the self-service kiosks. If you turn yourself in to authorities, which is the other way of clearing bounties, they're going to confiscate and really just take all of your stolen items. This being any item in your inventory that you picked up at any point during your playthrough that still has the stolen tag. But if you pay off your bounty at a kiosk, this will allow you to keep all of your stolen items, albeit costing slightly more. Or alternatively, you could just clean stolen items in Starfield. Go to any trade authority in the game and simply sell them all of your items that are marked as stolen. Then, without ever exiting the trade menu, you could use the buyback option to purchase these items for the exact same price you just sold them for. And as you buy them back, all of the items will lose their stolen tag. Even when you're over encumbered in Starfield, your carry weight is taken into account. You can see here, my 100-pound overweight character drains stamina faster than my 50-pound overweight character. And this difference even becomes a bit more dramatic with CO2 gain. So even if you're overweight in Starfield, how far overweight you are determines how fast your stamina will drain, meaning that chems or other items that boost your carrying capacity will make that long walk back to your ship go a bit faster even if you're still over the weight limit. And if you are super over encumbered and just immediately deplete your stamina bar, you can aim down sights to continue walking and your stamina will refill. Typically walking when this overweight will just immediately drain your stamina, but aimed walking will allow your stamina to replenish. Although do note, while CO2 will deplete your health, it'll never actually kill you. Once your HP gets low enough, it'll just stop going down and remain there. In Starfield, playing on a higher difficulty will lead to better loot spawning as enemies are using better leveled lists. So clearing out this area on very easy leads to mostly just basic and honestly unlootable weapons, things I don't want at all. But when on very hard, I found far more legendary weapons, more chems among some of the enemies I took out, and even a few extra credits on some of the enemies. The trick being, you only have to load the location on the higher difficulty. So right before you enter into the interior, you could set the game to very hard, but the second you load in, set the game back to very easy or normal, and you'll have better loot spawns, but still the same challenge of the difficulty you are on. Although of course you'll have to actually live with yourself for doing this. And just a heads up, towards the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about Starfield's most insane secret feature. Actually, several of these tied to New Game Plus. But I'm leaving it to the end of this video for those of you that do want to avoid spoilers around that aspect of the game, but don't miss out because it truly is some of the most crazy aspects of Starfield. You could use your other trigger or mouse button to charge up your cutter and it'll mine significantly faster in Starfield. You'll notice a change in your crosshair as the mining laser is charged, and if you want to be super efficient, you could even hit both of these buttons at the same time. So charge and fire in tandem for true maximum efficiency. Some really cool Starfield disc plates just came out, and you can pick one up for yourself using my affiliate link down below. As you're scanning a planet in Starfield, you'll see all of the available resources and what areas they appear in, but this doesn't include all of them. You'll notice all of the rare or uncommon resources will not appear in this planetary view. If you do get higher levels of the scanning skill, they will pop up, but you could also just find them. After landing, take out your scanner and you could find some of those rare resources, which oftentimes are more valuable to extract. And a pretty easy way to figure out what resources are nearby is just run around with an outpost out. Don't actually place the outpost, but as you're running around with this, you could see what available resources are in the outpost's range in the top left corner of your screen, which means that those resources are right nearby. Scanning overall in Starfield is an incredible way to get experience, and particularly just taking out wild fauna will give you tons of XP. This is insanely easy. Just find a planet with a bunch of creatures, this could even be Jemison if you want, and just start running around and taking out those creatures as they appear. Taking out creatures will count as a scan, and you'll very quickly realize that, oh yeah, these creatures pay out a ton of experience. And though scanning can get quite tedious, there are genuine benefits to fully scanning a planet, such as your outpost productivity increasing after a planet is fully scanned. And if you want to make the scanning process even a bit easier, look for these abandoned research towers. These can appear as a science random encounter on a planet. It'll have this symbol that looks like molecules connecting, and once you're inside, take the elevator up and go inside the storage room. In here, there's going to be a vault. Typically, you could find a computer on a second level to open the vault door, and once inside the vault, you could download some survey data for this planet. This will most often discover one of the planetary traits for you, but seemingly could also fill out other aspects of the scanning data at random. When you fully survey a planet in Starfield, you'll have the data deposited into your inventory as a note. You can sell these anywhere, or at least anywhere that buys notes, but Vladimir is going to pay the best. When you go to talk to him, just select the bottom dialogue option, asking him about his artifact search, and after doing this and going through the dialogue, it'll open up the ability to sell survey data directly to Vladimir for the best profits. Your scanner in Starfield will show you a direct path to your quest objective, which can be incredibly handy on space stations with multiple levels, or really just any time you get lost in game, open up your scanner and you'll see a path to where you need to go. While I was reviewing Starfield, I literally spent 45 minutes running around the scow because I was lost, and this would have been very handy if I knew it at the time. And honestly, just a quick bonus tip or hidden feature, upon boarding the scow, you can just immediately blast Vlad in the face the first second you meet him, and as long as you deal enough damage to down him, he will immediately surrender, and you can have him tell all of his guards to stand down and make this process much easier. If you're into decorating with junk, there are a couple of hidden options to manipulate items in Starfield. You can of course pick up items and rotate them. You do this just by hitting the A or E key, but if you hold shift on PC, you can rotate those items on an additional axis to get that perfect placement. You could also do this on a controller by hitting the left joystick, and you could even throw items by hitting R on PC or X on Xbox. Although, be warned, or just a good tip, if you ever do modify your ship, all of the items you placed in it will be moved to the ship's cargo. I've seen a lot of reports of users thinking they lost items, but just check the cargo and those items are likely there. This is also just a pretty handy way to clean things up on your ship if needed. Beds are surprisingly OP, so make sure you actually have one on your spaceship. Sleeping at any time will fully heal your character and give you the well-rested bonus, which means 10% bonus experience for 24 minutes. And this bonus will even go up to 15% if you have a romance companion on board your ship. You can easily put a bed in your ship by just changing the HAB type. In the shipbuilding menu, you can select alternate types of a module by clicking left and then right. We've talked in the past how the Vanguard pilot simulator located in the mass building in New Atlantis is a great way to level up your piloting skill for free. In this, you get your own free ship and are able to take out waves of enemy ships, making it a great way to upgrade piloting. But you can make this even easier by getting up after you start the simulation. After sitting in the chair and having your own ship spawn, stand up and access this terminal again. If you did this right, you'll find a variety of new options here. You can enhance your own ship, spawn in an ally, or even hack to give yourself another higher level ship as well as more bonuses. This will literally just make the entire process easier with no downsides. Nobody's going to get mad to you if you're hacking this. But also, in the basement of the lodge, there is a storage box on the table, and this has unlimited capacity. Unfortunately, it won't connect to crafting tables, but it's really handy for just overflow storage of items or outfits. The powers you get in Starfield are incredibly powerful, and if you play on PC, you could easily change these right in the middle of combat by hitting the K key. And this is a remappable hotkey that you can adjust at any time if you want to. Although unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there's no equivalent key for controllers as of right now. But then we get into the more spoilery part of this video. I'm going to talk a bit about New Game Plus and some of the unique mechanics around this. So if you're somebody that doesn't know how New Game Plus happens in Starfield or what happens at the end of the game, perhaps skip this part. I'm not going to actually talk about any story spoilers for Starfield outside of what happens in New Game Plus. So as many of you do know now, at the end of Starfield, you have an option to transport to a new universe. This kicks off New Game Plus and largely resets your character. The only thing you're going to keep are your skills and powers collected over the course of the game, but things like outposts, quest progression, or even your spaceship will be reset. So right off the bat, you're going to get some cool new things from New Game Plus, like a new suit of Starborn armor, as well as a new Star Guardian spaceship. You'll get some new and unique dialogue as a result of using these, but even beyond that, they're just each very strong in their own right. Although, what you may have not realized is you can continue to New Game Plus, and these two things will change further. As a part of New Game Plus, you can skip the main quest and just do a shortened version of it, but each subsequent new game, up to 10, will give you something new. Because yes, there are 10 variants of this armor available, and each time you complete the game another time, you'll get an updated variant of the armor. These alternate variants are going to have a different appearance, but also boosted stats. And as I mentioned, this will continue up to 10 times. There are 10 variants of this armor, and the deeper you get, the better they get. And the same will apply to your spaceship. You'll be able to get an enhanced version of your spaceship up to 6 times with New Game Plus. Although the visuals will largely remain the same, the stats of the spaceship will be increased. And another pretty cool aspect of New Game Plus is you can keep upgrading your powers. By repeating the same temples where you get your powers will get even stronger and get an enhanced version of that power. So you can see here, my slow time lasts even longer as I have the slow time 2 variant. And you can keep repeating this. As you go to new universes over and over, you can keep leveling up your powers time and time again, but Constellation can also change in some very dramatic ways as a part of this. As of right now, I think about 10 variants of Constellation are known, and these could spawn in some of the alternative timelines. These generally are going to be a bit more rare. Most of the time you'll walk up just to find the typical Constellation with some new dialogue, but alternatively, you could find the Hunter himself being there instead. You could find Constellation full of children hailing you as the last member of Constellation. You could find yourself already having joined Constellation in the typical way. So now there's 2 of us, and you'll have some confusion that does ensue. Or even you could just find Sarah Morgan as a plant, because yeah, that's a thing. There's a bunch more variations, each of these kind of having their own unique twists on the main story, as well as a bunch of unique dialogue, but even that still isn't everything, as you could also potentially find some new quests with New Game Plus. In my universe, Barrett wanted to get powers for himself, and I had an entire new quest where Barrett asked me to take him to a temple and receive his own power, which then leads to a pretty hilarious scene, and I had Barrett as a follower for the rest of my playthrough where he does have unique powers now. But also some new random encounters can spawn with New Game Plus. Before beating the game, I found this mysterious captain in Starfield.
It's a real treat to see everyone scrambling. I really can't say, as much as I'd like to. It may mean nothing, but I'm rooting for you. Sorry, can't say. Hopefully all will make sense in time. Good luck. Please, just be careful. Very careful. I hope to see you at a much later date.
This is seemingly a random encounter that could just happen at any point, but it is one of the more rare ones. But after beating the game and starting anew with New Game Plus, I got a new and distinct mysterious captain.
I knew you'd eventually make the leap. How are you enjoying this go of it? What? Oh, sorry, it gets so confusing, who knows what or what iteration someone's on. That's wonderful to hear, and rare. Usually a Starborn's life is complicated and unpleasant. I fought to get to the Unity again once or twice, but after all the pain, suffering, and just mind-boggling effort, I was left wondering, why bother? So now I indulge my hedonist side, and I must say it's a lot more fun than the constant struggle.
You, of course, will actually be on the inn now. You'll know what the captain is talking about, and you can have a brief discussion about it, but this captain also ends up turning into a high-level trader with some incredibly powerful gear. And that's just what's been found right now. The extent of how many things are modified or varied with New Game Plus isn't fully known, but it seems like this could be quite extensive. I wouldn't be shocked if there are more quest change-ups or random encounters to be found, and I'll definitely keep you updated as more are discovered. But if you are enjoying Starfield, get rich. In this video, I go over some great ways to make a ton of money in game.